What's happening? It's yours truly, Javon Freeman, back with another one. I want to start this off by saying at the Instagram page at the b.o.experience. You already know the vibes. What else? Give me a like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and even give me a dislike. Again, they're anonymous, but they let me know what you guys think. And even if you disagree, dislike, have an opinion of your own, of anything that I say or anything you may hear or appear, leave it down in the comment section. Yeah, let's get into this. Elon Musk is making discoveries in Social Security. We briefly talked about that with the whole PBD stuff. So let's see what Fox News is talking about. I think I'm going to find some sources from either MSNBC, CNN, ABC, just tapping on the other political side of the spectrum. Just to hear what they're saying. Got to be as well rounded as possible, even though it's all cringeworthy these days.
Doge is on the move. Up next at the IRS and our gold reserves.
I've been trying to go down and see the gold and make sure it's all there for about 10 years. I think the more sunlight, the better, more transparency, the better.
With Doge continuing.
I think if you are a true American lineage that's been here before colonization, you should be able to go see them gold reserves. We need to know if the gold that's in the reserves is still on American soil. If it's not in American soil, oh man, we got a problem. Now, we do need to keep it out of, we don't need to know where it's located. I think that would still be best. But we should know. We should know that it's, very healthy.
Its search for wasteful spending, Democrats insist on putting up roadblocks. Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeting this. Good news. After we raised the alarm, Doge has been blocked from accessing sensitive Department of Education data. Your social security number, income data, and personal information are safe for now. We will keep fighting back. But Utah Senator Mike Lee just was not having it. He responded, you literally passed a law giving IRS visibility into Venmo payments, and now you're all about privacy, but only for Doge because it's trying to weed out waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer funds. And are the vampires living amongst us? Because Elon Musk taking a peek into Social Security, apparently over 20 million recipients are listed as being above the age of 100. With one being listed between the ages of 360 and 369 years old. I would like to eat what that person is eating. Now, a judge is ordering an extension on the temporary block of Musk's access to the Government Efficiency Department. I guess musician Sheryl Crow would be happy with all of these roadblocks because the Grammy winner, she sold her Tesla. She donated the money to NPR in protest of Elon Musk. I'm sure that's the best use of her money. Welcome to the second hour of the Big Money Show. I'm Jackie DeAngelis, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Taylor Riggs, Dagan McDowell, Jeff Flock, in for Brian Brunberg, and O'Leary Ventures Chairman Kevin O'Leary is sticking around for another.
Here's my thing. I think Kevin O'Leary is a great businessman. However, when we talk on the side of intent, I don't know whether he falls on positive or negative intent. I think he's, again, a very classic businessman, and what we know about business is cutthroat, and classic business is stepping on people's back to quote unquote achieve success. So there's a lot to be said there. I'm not necessarily going to say all of it, but that's the assessment of somebody young, from a young Gen Z, but who can also sit back and objectively say, yeah, no, this guy has done great feats. However, that doesn't necessarily mean every decision that this person has made, or majority of the decisions that the person has made, was with good intent or negative intent. And again, I've never met the man. A lot of it could have been fake news. A lot of it could have been false article writings and all that good stuff. So I think it'd be different. But from outside looking in, and it's not to say he should take my word for anything like that verbatim or as constructive criticism. who am I? To him, I'm nobody, and rightfully so. Is again, this is just my perspective from the BOM channel. Yeah.
Another jam-packed hour. We're going to begin on Capitol Hill with the latest Doge moves. Hillary Vaughn has them for us. Hi, Hillary.
Hi, Jackie. Well, there is a concern that Doge is getting access to sensitive information at the IRS, but this is something that people at the IRS have access to every single day to do their job. So the people who are protesting are really mad that Doge is the one who's getting to look under the hood. The White House has insisted that anyone viewing anything sensitive or classified or private has the clearance and appropriate approval to do so. A White House official says that direct access to what's called the Integrated Data Retrieval System, which includes visual access to taxpayer accounts, is needed to audit the IRS, something that IRS workers do every day to Americans. The IRS is also not immune from downsizing. AP reports they will lay off thousands of IRS workers who have been in the probation period of their employment, with cuts happening as soon as next week.
People work very hard to pay their taxes every single day. They're hurting. They see wasteful government spending. We need to have government in the sunshine. We need to have spending in the sunshine.
In addition to finding fraud, Doge is discovering lost taxpayer cash. Doge helping the Department of Housing and Urban Development relocate $1.9 billion that had gone missing under Biden. That's nearly $2 billion.
Okay. 1.9 billion of HUD money was just recovered after being misplaced during the Biden administration due to a broken process. These funds were earmarked for the administration of financial services, but were no longer needed. Secretary Turner and Doge worked together to fix the issues and de-obligated the funds, which are now available for the use by the Treasury at HUD.gov at Sec Turner Press.
Billion that they say the Treasury can now use for other things. Doge has also been digging into Social Security. Elon Musk estimating there are about 60 million more Social Security numbers issued than there are Americans, saying, quote, there are far more eligible Social Security numbers than there are citizens in the USA. This might be the biggest fraud in history, but Democrats.
You know what's crazy now that he says that is say there actually was millions of immigrants coming in, that would have been easy filing. Like, yeah, you get a social, you get a social, you get a social, you get a social. Now they become citizens, they vote, and they're getting social security and social security privileges and benefits. That's more than fraud. That's corruption at that point. You're no longer just inflating the banking system or the currency system. You are inflating the population, and that's a no-no. That's a no-no.
Democrats say Doge is exaggerating all this fraud they're finding.
Are these five feminized?
Hold on. We're gonna mute that real quick. I think that's outrageous. I'll be honest with you. You don't I don't get where the whole fuss is with the government being audited is a problem. And for all these members of government that are sitting here like, you don't need to audit us, who better to audit the government than business? Look, and I'm gonna refer to it again. The triangle of power is the people on top, business and government on bottom. It's an equilateral triangle, of course, but government and business on bottom. For the last 2 millennia, maybe even longer, let's say 6,000 years, 9 to 7,000 years, it's been people on bottom, government, business on top. The energy of the universe is changing. Please look back at prior videos spoken about, the effects of of Earth's magnetic field, particles, energy, and all that good stuff affecting humans and whatnot. But that shift from the people being on bottom supporting business and government is now flipping back to its natural status quo, and it will be people on top, and government and business are holding each other accountable. So government is supposed to make sure that business owners don't acquire too much power, and then business owners are supposed to make sure government doesn't acquire too much power. And by doing so, you're ensuring that you're both meeting the standards of the people and feeding it to the people, and then so the people don't have too much power and you don't have anarchy in the streets. The government are, is then righteously uh, uh, bestow the power to govern, and then um, businesses, do actual righteous or honorable business by, you know, making sure money goes back into the economy where they're located and whatnot, and they're actually stimulating the economy, the pockets of the people, and not just taking the money, saving the money, and hoarding the money.
Performative theatric measures. They'll pick these one-off cases and they'll say this is broad policy. This is what an entire department or agency does or represents, and it's just not true.
Musk also found that there's over 4 million people in the Social Security database who.
Oh, hold on. Oh, this is bad. Muy mal, muy mal. I hope I don't get copyrighted for that. I was I was watching a movie. Let me get it off the screen. Hope it wasn't even playing. I didn't even hear it. That would be great, but I heard it in my audio, so you might have heard it.
Who have an age over 140 years old. The oldest person alive right now in the world is 116 years old. So this is either a smoking gun for fraud, or as Elon Musk joked, vampires could be real. Jackie?
They just might be. Hillary Vaughn, thank you so much. Meantime, there's more money set to come back to taxpayers across this country, but how soon until the left starts screaming about the D.C. housing market and unemployment numbers that are spiking? The median home value dropped 20% since November, and unemployment in D.C. for the week ending February 8th. The jobless filings were up 36% from the week prior. One more thing I thought was really interesting. The Kobayashi letter says 8,000 homes were listed for sale in Washington, D.C. and the metro area. Almost half of them have been put.
I'm telling you now, if I had the capital at my young, ripe age, I would definitely invest. Not right now. It's going to keep getting worse. Now, here's my opinion. The probationary officers and probationary employees are being let go of. Okay. You're not really shrinking if you don't get rid of some of the people that were already there, that aren't probationary, that aren't essential. So there's going to have to be more cutting that gets done. Once that wave happens, give it a couple more months, maybe 4 or 5 months, let the stock, not the stock, but let the market change. There's going to be more growth. You're going to see more people selling, and there's going to be so much property, because you also got to remember too, it's not like all of these employees were living there. A lot of people acquire properties just to have them, just so they can have a place to visit or a place to stop by. They're not even used. That's why there's going to be such a major wealth transfer once, after a couple decades. I say, what, 15 years, there's going to be such a massive wealth transfer. We're already starting to see early signs of it. This is an early sign of a massive wealth transfer. It's just taking place in a much localized setting. It's going to be much more general. Yeah, give it a couple months. I get me a property there too. It is going to be dirt cheap. And then there's going to be some other stuff that takes place in the real estate market as well, property market. But, if you're asking me, if I had the capital, that's what I would do. And I wouldn't get anything that's super flashy. I'd get something that's, I wouldn't say necessary, but more like conducive to the everyday living person, someone that is going to have a job. You don't want anything super duper crazy where you might get 1 year residency, 2 year residency, you got to go back to repairs. No, you want somebody that's going to be there for some time, somebody looking to, drive their stakes into the ground, and where you could make some type of profit or turnover. Repairs are going to be done. As a homeowner, you actually want to be hands-on. You want to be able to have cushion, and I wouldn't buy properties. Oh my gosh, I can't stand the fact that this was done. I hear people talking about this, and I've had conversations with great minds, people that have actually handled lots of money. And even they say, and I've been saying it since I was a teen, early teens, this whole use other people's money, the whole credit thing, You only do that when you have the money to cover what you're asking for. Oh my gosh, I think that's the worst thing in the world, but that's a conversation for another day.
Put on the market in the last 30 days alone. So while the Democrats are melting down and they can keep crying and cursing and holding rallies, but as Charles Payne said in the previous hour, they're not
See
listening.
what I mean? Look at that. Look at that. 3 months tops. In 3 months, you got a 20% drop. That is going to drop a whole lot more. I wouldn't be surprised if you see it in the low $300,000, high $200,000 range when all of this is done and after all the cuts are being made. When I say all the cuts, I mean they're going to have to get rid of people in the federal government that aren't essential. People that are only 2-3 years, maybe 4 or 5 years into the job, and they're assistants. A lot of these people have extra assistants on hands. So.
You've also got a swamp that's being drained, and these numbers are evidence of that. You're new in this hour, Jeff. What's your reaction?
Well, it's kind of an indication about how things have changed. I'm old enough to remember something called the Golden Fleece Award, which a Democrat senator from Wisconsin named William Proxmire started in 1975. And each month he would give an award to a government agency that was wasting our money. This went on for years. It was the Democrats that were doing this. And now I guess it's a couple of generations later, right? Now it's the Republicans that are taking the lead on it. And, I think arguably our government could have used a little bit of a shake-up. I don't know, you don't want to shake it too hard, but a shake-up. Yeah, oh, you do? Oh, I know, Dagan wants to.
Yes, I want to, Kevin, shake it until it doesn't feel good.
I remember the Fleece Awards. However, they didn't have social media in those days.
Right.
And so the message didn't get out as quickly as it's getting now, because it was always
I didn't know what eggs do.
It's getting now, because it was always the bottom of the story of the day. I remember that award.
Yeah.
But this is good stuff going on. I don't know why anybody would think it isn't. And it hasn't ever been done. And I think it's a wonderful idea that this money stays in the economy instead of being wasted, because it would make the whole country more productive. And that's really why everybody, I would bet you 7 out of 10 people on the street like what's going on this cost-cutting stuff. And every day it's getting more interesting, because they read the crazy stories. And they say, that's my money. I have $68,000 average salary, and I'm watching this. This is working. It's really interesting to watch it work.
Listen, I'm gonna say it, and I said it before on this channel. Look at it. It doesn't make sense to me how there are people that are actually doing jobs that push forward progression, people that are laying down railroad tracks, people that are laying down the pipeline so you can go to the bathroom and flush your toilet properly, and don't have to worry about it getting backed up and you got to drain your entire house to waste. There's a whole system where people are taking care of that, where there are people literally mining and getting dirty and having mud and oil shot on them, people that are getting down into the sewage drains and actually unclogging them after it rains, so our plumbing isn't backed up. They don't make $500,000 a year, but then you have these people that sit in these chairs and are looking at papers and yelling at each other all day, making $500,000. That's not really pushing anything further. That's just creating boundaries. Now, don't get me wrong, not everyone does it. The president, he makes somewhere near $500,000 on his salary. But Trump don't even need it. He's a billionaire himself. But I digress.
In honor of Kevin O'Leary, because I know he's all about permitting reform, I think, Jackie, for me, DOJ goes a little bit step deeper. I think I love cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse, cutting the money, slashing jobs. But I think the next layer is going to have to be government working around red tape, because we all remember, and this is from the New York Times this morning, where they say passing a law is all great, but then you have companies are involved, agencies, you're applying for permits, how do you meet regulatory standards for construction, blah, blah, blah. It could be months or years before actual building of, let's say, a home or a new factory can actually start. You guys all remember, more than 2 years after Congress enacted the $5 billion EV charging stations, there's just 2 Ohio and New York that have actually opened any. And in 3 years, only dozens have actually opened. That's well below the hundreds that they promised us. So I love DOGE and the cost cutting, but I also eventually want to see how do we deal with the red tape, keeping things safe with the permitting, but cutting the crap that takes years and years to go through to get anything done.
That $5 billion program specifically ran through the Department of Transportation, called the NEVI program. Only it's less than $700 million was sent out to the states. Sean Duffy sent out a memo saying we're putting a stop to this, so no more money goes out, and that any approvals that the states had submitted to the Department of Transportation, he has put the kibosh on them and said whatever approvals you submitted, we're putting pause on that. But you will hear, for example, Senator Tim Kaine talking about this is a war on veterans and the VA is slashing jobs. Be very careful, because the caterwauling and the shrieking, particularly by lawmakers who live in the kind of greater D.C. area, Charlie Hurt said this Friday, they're very concerned about those constituents losing their lunch money, so to speak, because
You know what? I think that's a great place to end this off. She said exactly what I was saying. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. I think this was a great listen. Definitely tune in. There will be more videos. I'm gonna look up something right now. Actually, I think might be very important. Eventually, if I have the time, I will be going live. But there'll be more information about that. Until next time, ciao.